All right, guys, it's Steve. Anyway, yeah, I'm driving to a meeting. I'm running a little bit behind today, but I wanted to start off introducing or welcoming the new folks. I won't name everybody, but there's a bunch of new folks joining us. So today is going to be a little bit of refresher, and I'll cover the new folks in a separate conversation and a little bit of moving forward. So just as a reminder, this is the meetup for those who are involved in our joint venture real estate wholesaling partnership. This is not a class. This is not a training program. We do offer those, but this is a partnership where we can all make money and do wholesaling, and I'll sort of be teaching you along the way. The primary job at this point in the transaction, in the whatever, is to get sellers interested, to get sellers on board, to get whatever you want to say, to get sellers. That is the whole job. Because if we get the sellers in at the right price, and I do not care what their
The light. Turn right onto North Main.
All right, hang on a second, guys. I'm having a feedback problem. Give me a few seconds to get where I'm going. But anyway, let me just pull over for a second to fix this. Sorry, I shouldn't have done this. This was a screw up. But anyway, just so you know what I'm doing is I'm actually going to a wholesale self-storage facility right now. So that's sorry, I'm not sure exactly where it cut out, but I'm actually going to a wholesale self-storage or it's a self-storage facility that I am holding. I have decided, but so back to my point, we don't care what real estate they are transacting. Normally, I do with my office. I apologize. I just thought I'd be there already and be able to sit down and do this from the car, but I'm still a couple minutes away. So we don't supply. We do sometimes supply data, but for the most part, getting leads in is what you're for. That's what your role is, getting us with real estate problems. I was on my first real estate deed in 1997, commercial property out in Boston. Didn't really take that seriously. Didn't take much all that seriously at that age. And went on in 2008 to buy a bunch of rentals out in Northeast PA. That's where I started wholesaling before I knew what it was called. Became an agent in 2015, became a broker in 2022. And here we are. I teach, I speak on this topic, whatever, I'm on podcasts and stuff, whatever.
So, interesting, I don't
see as many people on here as I was hoping to, but whatever, I hope everyone joins on the video recording. So what you want to be doing is getting in touch with people. Okay, in wholesaling, today's market of wholesaling. Going to Facebook Marketplace doesn't work. Going to Craigslist doesn't work. Nobody on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist isn't already buried in offers. Yes, $100,000 for that thing you see on Marketplace may be a good price. Okay. But in order for us to make money on it, we're going to have to sell it to the end buyer for less than $100,000. Why? Because the end buyer's probably already seen it on Marketplace for 100. So we take it down, we put it back up at 100. We take control of it, we put it back up at 100. What have we done? If they didn't offer the owner 100, they're not going to offer us 100. So we have to be able to put it back on the market for a lot less, which means we have to make the owner an offer for even less. So we might have to get it for 50 grand from the owner in order to put it back on at 80 grand. Picking numbers, of course. And the owner's gonna be like, no, I'm not taking that. So we're not looking for what's on Facebook Marketplace. We're not looking for what's on pick your other favorite flavor of online effort. We're not looking for them. And so basically, we need to find people before they know they want to be on the market. Can we sell MLS? Yes, we can sell MLS. Likely, in the current fairly busy market, not so much. Reasons for that are really quite simple. That realtors are going to be suspicious of a wholesale offer. Once they see and/or signs, if they have a freaking clue, they're going to say, I don't believe you. Meaning, I don't believe you're a real investor. I believe you're a wholesaler. And there's a few things that a wholesaler can't bring to the table that a real buyer can, and that any good listing agent is going to require you bring with an offer. Proof of funds. Most wholesalers cannot prove they have the money to purchase the property. And I don't mean some internet proofofunds.com bullshit. I mean an actual, here's my bank statement, here's a pre-qualification, whatever. The second thing is your due diligence requirements in your contract are going to require you to, a good realtor is going to pick out what you're doing. And a good realtor is going to say to a seller, well, wait a second. Why would we take this? And again, it has to be a lower offer. If it's offered on the market for $100,000, you know the realtor's already buried and offers in that ballpark and above. So you need to go again lower. And so, okay, you want the realtor to go to their seller and say, Mr. Seller, okay, we have this offer, we're listing for $100,000. We got this offer for 70, and I'm pretty sure it's a wholesaler who's not the end buyer, and he's simply going to try to find the end buyer. So, we're not even signing a contract that is going to be
we're not even going
to
to
sign a contract that's going to be a legitimate offer. We're signing a contract with someone who's going to try to find us a buyer.
And
in general, realtors and agents don't like wholesalers, and for frankly, in some cases, really good reasons, they don't like wholesalers.
so
We need to find the people that have not advertised their property. We need to go after pre-foreclosure, pre-NOD, which is notice of default, foreclosure, basically, tax sale, divorce, desperation, abandoned property, vacant property, problem property, tired landlord. We need to go after a sector of business which is in some way special, in some way motivated. And so those are the lists that we generate. We generate, and you can generate lists of code violations, and we can skip trace them for you. We generate lists of a lot of different things, and skip, some of the most popular are vacant, non-owner occupied, dilapidated, code violations, probate, pre-probate, estate, that's all dead people, foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, that's all foreclosures of some kind, not always of a mortgage, but of some kind. And you can look at there's equity choices and whatever, and we can dive in a little bit deeper on that when you guys go searching for your leads. You also can simply put up bandit signs and flyers. Hey, we buy houses for cash. I pass them all the time. I don't do a lot of them because I don't find it worth my time to put out signs. I wish I had someone local to do that for me. But signs work, flyers work. Getting in front of community groups actually works. That's why, people who hate Scranton, people who love Wilkes-Barre, those kinds of Facebook groups, this is where your Facebook page is going to be playing. And the reason you're using a Facebook page is because nobody wants to see your baby mama drama. Nobody wants to see your birthdays. You want to use this page and steal my content and other people's on my site's content and write your own content. You want to be the expert in real estate. You want to be the one they can trust. And everyone always says, well, I can wholesale. What do I need you? Okay, great. Let me just suggest, hypothetically, you guys are here because you've chosen to work with me. So I'm not selling you on anything. But you sit down across from a seller. Mr. Seller, I think I'd like to wholesale your property, yada, 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 or however you want to phrase it. And he's like, all right, listen, I've talked to 10 wholesalers in the last week, because let's face it, we're a dime a dozen now. Why you? Why do I believe you can do it? Well, I've read some books, and I'm really excited, and I'm young, and I'm energetic, and I really think I can help you, and I've watched some YouTube videos. Okay, fine. And maybe you have a better story than that. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just genericizing. Versus, well, I'm all those things, and my business partner has market capacity of about $6 million that he could purchase. And sorry, somebody from the group just texted me. Let me just figure out. Sorry, you're just confused about the meeting. And so when you sit down and you're representing with me, oops. All right, am I on there now again? I hope. All right, good. Sorry. So just realized when I'm on my phone, if I touch anything else, it kicks me off. I apologize. I won't be doing it on the phone again. So you go in there and you give your personal great story, which is wonderful, and I'm not putting any story down. You have a certain level of position with the seller, a certain level of believability. Because remember, these sellers are desperate. They need a solution. They don't need an attempt. Bluntly, that's why they're going wholesale instead of MLS. If they were not in a pinch, they would list it and get full price. Or you sit down with them and tell them your great story and say, by the way, my business partner has been owning property in his own name since 1997. He's owned in 3 different states.
He has the ability to buy up to $6 million of property tomorrow if he wanted to, maybe more. Blah, 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 blah.
He's a broker, he's a wholesaler, and here's his links, and here's the stuff.
All the stuff
About me and my company and my partners.
And all of a sudden you look totally different. And bluntly, they realize that you could be their buyer. Most wholesale sellers don't understand that you're not going to be their buyer. You explain it to them, but it doesn't sink in. And frankly, they don't care. So, what are we doing
in the initial conversation with the seller?
And this has been
The question I've been getting the most for the last week.
by the way, I just get a couple of questions on the payout structure, and I'll have those conversations individually because people at different levels pay slightly differently. But basically, we pay out up to 100% of the transaction. We start at about 70%, and then when you've performed to a certain amount of deals, you take 100%. You only pay a $700 processing fee to the errors and emissions company or whatever. So we'll cover that on an individual basis, not on a group basis, but I wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, so when you're sitting with the seller, the first thing, and this is true for any seller, whether you're licensed, and I encourage everyone to get licensed, whatever state you're in. Pennsylvania requires it. Other states maybe not, but I think getting your license gives you so much more power in these conversations. It also gives you a way of making money if the property gets listed. But you're sitting across from the seller and you're building rapport. That is number one job with every seller, whether you're wholesaling, retailing, buying, doesn't matter. Building that rapport, getting them to trust you, getting to know them, and letting them bitch. I mean, no shade on anybody, but again, they're in the situation where they're taking below market offers because something ain't right. We'll find out what that is for two reasons. One is, the most important thing is, we're in a win-win-win business. It only works if the seller wins, we win, and the end buyer wins. That's it. I have a deal right now. Matt Eisman, local agent that I respect a lot, caught this wholesale deal, called me because we do a lot of wholesale, and we partnered up on it. And we started thinking the sellers needed $81,000 to pay off their mortgage. Well, it turns out they needed $130,000 to pay off their mortgage. But we haven't resold it at a high enough price, so we just took the difference out of our profit. Because number one, nobody makes anything if the deal falls apart. And number two is we came in here to solve the problem. The buyer wanted to buy, the seller wanted to sell. We came in here to solve the problem. So we want to know what's going on in the seller's life. We want to know what feels like to them. And also it's a negotiation point. When they tell us these things, we can say, hey, and they make them an offer, and they push back on the offer. Say, okay, I get it. I get you don't like the number. But here's the reason why. We always justify our numbers. We never say, well, that's our number. It needs this kind of repairs, the end value is this, whatever. And by the way, are you here for top dollar, or are you here to solve this other problem you mentioned to me? I remember when I was, and that's what it comes down to. And again, you are not working for the seller. If you're an agent or a licensee anywhere, you understand the word of fiduciary duty, which means we have an obligation to our clients, and we have an obligation also to the rest of the public to deal fairly and straight and whatever. You are not their fiduciary when you're doing wholesale. You still have to be honest and forthright and whatever, but you don't work for them, and you need to make sure they understand that. But at the same time, you say, hey, listen, I know you don't love my number, but here are the reasons why. And by the way, isn't this your real problem? Isn't your real problem that you can't sleep at night because these bad things are happening at the building? Isn't your real problem that these other things are going on? So what you want to do in that first phone call is build rapport. The second thing, most important, but you want to, oh crap, that was the title agency I was talking. All right. Oh crap. All right, I'm going to go to this screen over here. Go on the computer.
All right. So obviously I will never do one of these from the road again. But you want to get all the physical facts of the property and you put them in the spreadsheet. And I showed the spreadsheet in the last video and I will share the last video with everyone. And then you call us up and we run through it and we walk you through comps. Do not feel you need to do the calls initially on your own. For you guys who haven't been here before, let me go through the doctor spiel. You watch, you do, you fly solo. So your first few calls, you're going to call us up, get me or Ryan or one of the other people on the phone. And we're going to do the talking. You're going to do the listening and note taking. And we're going to then hang up from the seller, run the numbers, call them back, make an offer. Further down the road, however many calls till you're comfortable, you'll do the talking and the note taking. We'll do the listening and the guiding you by text message. And then we'll collect the information, go back and process and get them an offer. And eventually you'll say, hey, Steve, I don't need the help on the initial call. Let me collect the data. Da, da, da. Okay, great. You're never alone on any of it. That's what we're here for. We are your mentors. We're your partners. The contracting is done by our company. All the signing and the money and the whatever is all by us. You're not putting any risk out there. And we go through there. Now, here's the quick numbers on Zillow sucks. Okay, don't trust Zillow. If Zillow knew what they were doing, they wouldn't have been run out of the home buying business so quick. They're great in what they do, but their estimates are based on an algorithm that just isn't reality. It's a computer. It's not very good AI. I think they'll be improving that, but right now they haven't. But it says if the ARV after repair value is, let's say, $240,000, actually I'll use 100,000 because it's easy to make percentages. The flipper has to be done for 70% maximum, 2/3 to 70% of the finished value. So, and that is not a 30% profit to the flipper. That covers the flipper profit. That covers the selling realtor when they sell it to the end buyer. That covers the lender, and sometimes it covers some holding costs. So if it's going to sell when it's done, dipped in gold, dipped in whatever you dip it in for that neighborhood for 100, flipper's got to be done for 70. So then we got to be able to sell it to the flipper for less than 70. How much less than 70? Well, what's the repair estimate on the property? We have a spreadsheet for that. Let's say the repair estimate is 30 grand. So 70 became 40. Can we sell it to the flipper at 40? Yeah. Can we buy it from the seller at 40? No. Why? Because if we sell it to the flipper at 40, we buy it from the seller at 40, where's our money? So we have to get the seller down to 20, 30. We have to go even more aggressive. Whatever our wholesale fee is and whatever like that. So I'm sorry, guys. I promise I'll never do this from the phone again. Anyway, our game is to sell it so 100,000 end sale to final buyer, 70,000 every dime flipper can have into it, 30,000 repair, 70 became 40. We've got to pick it up from the seller for 30, 20 maybe, so there can be room. Our goal is to give it to the flipper at a price where they're going to make the most money. Rentals have different math, but the point is we have to be aggressive. And bluntly, I have these conversations with people every day. I could list you for 75 and probably sell you in a month or two, but it's a 6-month contract. I could buy you for 40, or I could wholesale you and maybe get you 50. Those are your 3 things I can do for you. And we can negotiate numbers, but if you don't like any of those 3, we don't have a lot to talk about. So that is the game of wholesaling. So what I want everyone to do, because obviously this teaching from the phone thing is not the glory hole of wonderfulness I thought it was going to be. I'm going to wrap this up now and we'll regroup separately. Please use my calendar link to contact me, and let's set up individual times to get everyone started and figure out what your specific questions are. But right now, what I want you doing is I want you getting your Facebook and your phone number set up. I want you getting visible in your communities. I want you starting to drive around looking for dilapidated properties. Looking for properties, and this is a horrible time of year to do this, okay? There's no question. Before people start mowing their lawns, when they stop kind of worrying about shoveling snow because it's all going to melt in the morning anyway, it's hard to tell what's abandoned and what's simply the owner's kind of being lazy. Hell, I know I'm being lazy, so whatever. That you want to contact your code officers, and Eric will have a great seminar coming up on this in a week or so. Contact your code officers about getting violation lists. And sometimes you have to do a right to know request. Some code officers don't do it unless you force them to with a sunshine law request. But you want to contact your code officers. Get the violation list. Who has violations in town? We can then talk about how to decide which ones to skip trace and contact. You can go door to door basically in your local mobile home park, because a lot of times mobile homes, they're not a great target, but a lot of times they can be profitable. You drive around your neighborhood or do digital driving for dollars and find dilapidated properties that way. You look at your tax sale list. In Pennsylvania, there's the upset sale, which is the first tax sale you go to. There's the judicial sale, which is the second tax sale that a property goes to. If it does not sell at upset, it goes to judicial a year later. And then there's repository. Well, between upset and judicial, there's a year. So if they didn't sell at upset, you can go and chase them down and say, hey, the knife is coming back to you next year. Do you want to have a conversation? You can do direct mail. We are launching some direct mail campaigns now, and if you want to contribute, you certainly can. You can do outbound calling. Talk to me about outbound calling, texting, and emailing. There are laws. We need to talk about it, and I'd like you to use our software for it because I want to make sure we're as safe as possible. We have the CRM, the customer relations management software, and everything you need. Don't worry. All you've got to do right now is get people. Tell your friends, hey, have you ever made $250 in 5 minutes legally? No, how do you do that? Well, you get me the name and number of somebody who wants to sell, and if the deal closes, I'll give you a $250 Christmas gift. You are not giving them a commission. Commission's a legal term. Don't do it. You're giving them a gift. But the point is, you want to be talking to people who need to sell. Funeral homes, maybe. Obituaries, yes. Estate attorneys, yes. You want to get into situations where grandma is overwhelmed, grandma inherited the house and doesn't want it. Whatever. You want to get in front of those people. And really, initially, all you're doing is, hey, I'm interested in buying real estate like the house you have at this address. Would you consider having a conversation about selling that or something else? Some sort of conversation like that. That's all you got to do. You guys are here because you like sales. That's why you're here. Then we set up a time. You either, if you're on the line with them, dial me in. If I can't grab the call, I won't. But if I can, I will. Otherwise, we'll circle back. We'll get on a conference call, and I'll walk you through everything else. It's a very simple process. Now, where do you look? The last thing I want to cover today, because unfortunately I have a client showing up early. They said 11:30, now they're showing up at 11. Terrible apologies, guys. Today is really challenging. But anyway, I hope you'll bear with me. But I recommend two things. People do virtual wholesaling all the time. They will be like, oh, you're in Kalamazoo, you're in LA, you're in Seattle, you're in Tijuana. Yeah, we can do that. I don't like that. I mean, I'm not saying I won't let you do it, but we'll have to have a conversation, because the problem is if you don't have the local knowledge of a community. I even have this in Pennsylvania. I mean, I've done deals all over the state. My partner Ryan and I sometimes, well, somebody's called from Gilbretheville. Where the bleep is Gilbretheville? We look on the map, we're like, oh, it's kind of like over there. But then you don't know which side of the tracks is good, which side of the tracks is bad. Where are you getting shot? Where are you, You running comps, yeah, you can prop stream anything, but do you know enough locally? So I recommend one of two things. Stay in your lane. Your community, your neighborhood, your town, your county, your region, great. Things you can drive to, especially when you're beginning. Because we want to get boots on the ground on the property, and if you can be those boots, you'll learn a lot more about what a property looks like. If not, or if you expand past that, pick a few places. and get to understand them. That's really what's important. So like I've got one of us is actually on from Alabama, and he does Alabama, and I forget, he does these parts of Alabama, these parts of Mississippi, and a couple other places I can't remember. All right, great, which is perfect. And he's been wholesaling for a while and doing really well at it. Perfect. That's what we want. We want to have local knowledge, understanding, and to be able to converse with the seller as if you were a local. Unrelated story real quick. My wife, back in the day when we were in radio, and this is early 90s, like 92. And automation was totally unheard of in the radio industry. And she was doing what's called voice tracking. She'd record tracks for a Pensacola, Florida station. We were in upper northern New York, and she'd record tracks and send them down, and they'd put them in their cheesy ass 1990s automation system. And she would get letters from people saying how wonderful it was to have a local Pensacola'n person on the radio. These people had no idea that she'd never even could barely spell Pensacola, let alone having been there. So having a local, but she had the local knowledge. She researched the market. She knew it. She understood it. She talked about the local things going on. She described the local landmarks and the local festivals and made it sound like she was a local. And people like that. They don't like selling to some unknown place, especially when it comes down to negotiation. I get in this every single day. I'll get on the phone with the seller and say, well, you only want to give me $40,000 for this house, and I had 3 other companies offer me $65,000. Okay, great. Where are those 3 companies from? I don't know. Their area codes are way the hell far away. You guys are at least a Pennsylvania area code. Okay, great. Well, have you looked into where they're based? Oh, well, I just looked. They're based in California. Okay, well, fine. Listen, if they'll pay you that number, take that deal and run. How long do they want to tie your property up for? 3 weeks? Oh, no, they want 3 months. Okay, so I'm offering you 3 to 4 weeks. They're offering you 3 months. I'm in Pennsylvania. They're not. I've shown you the numbers that they're offering you $85,000. I've shown you dipped in gold, your house that currently has no walls and no heating system will only sell for 100. Now, if they'll give you 85 and they'll close, take it and run. But I'm local. I know your market. Here's the facts. Here's links to what things are selling for in your neighborhood. All we can do is give them the understanding that we know them better than these other people. And if they want to try those other people, great. But when you call back to us, we may not have the same offer. Because I routinely lower my offers when people call back. But you want to be understanding, you want to be knowledgeable in your market, because what are you doing if you're not knowledgeable? But also, you want to be able to give credibility to your offers, give credibility and reasons to what you're doing. And the more you know about the community, the more credibility you build with the seller, and the more information we can give them. So that's it, guys. So basically what we're going to be going over next week from the office, and I promise I'll be in the office, is we're going to go over how to do what comping looks like and how the math works out. Do you need this? No, because I'll be doing the numbers with you. But it'll help you understand where we come up with repair requests, where we come up with everything else. I'll be showing you spreadsheets that eventually you'll grow into using. But that's what's on next week's list. We had a bunch of people sign up with us this week. It's the first time for a lot of folks. Has anybody got? Oh, there are 2 questions. Okay, good question. So we tie up our sellers for 4 weeks, typically 2 to 4 weeks, meaning we have our contracts. I don't promise to close in 7 days. I think that's bullshit. Can it happen? Yes, but does it really happen? Not so much. We give them 4 weeks due diligence, 4 weeks physical inspection time. Translation, 4 weeks showing it to buyers. And in 4 weeks, we give them a thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs up, we're going to title. Thumbs down, we're not. So that's and then title usually takes another 4 weeks. So we're saying, listen, can we close you in 2 weeks? Maybe. Can we close you in a month? Very likely. Can we close you in 2 months? Almost always. So, but in 4 weeks, you will know we're doing this or we're not. And if we say we're doing this, the only thing that blows it up is title. And if you tell me you owe $80,000 on your house and you actually owe $130,000, don't know that I can fix it all the time. I'm able to fix it on this one deal, but that's only because we got such an absurd offer. The other question is, okay, percentage splits. Roughly, I think I covered this. So besides percentage splits, okay, your question is besides. We do have monthly fee options if you want to pay monthly and have a much lower percentage or no percentage. We do have that. Again, we'll discuss money separately. Legality, the last thing to cover. We should all look into whatever state you're in. Most of you guys are Pennsylvania. I know the laws in Pennsylvania. You've got to be licensed, basically, especially for 1 to 4 units. You can do self-storage. You can do mobile home parks. You can do a lot of things. But licensing for 1 to 4. PAR membership, Association of Realtors membership, not necessary. That's a whole different conversation. I'll be covering that actually in some public webinars on another day. But if you're an Association of Realtors membership, or if you don't want to be Association of Realtors, then you're fine. What will it cost you to get your Pennsylvania license? For those of you not in Pennsylvania, we'll discuss on a state-by-state basis what's required and what I recommend. I always recommend being an agent, always. Last thing is, what's it cost? You're going to spend, and I'm going to reimburse you for this out of your first transaction. You'll spend $500 or less getting your license for the course. A couple $100 more to the state. Fine. I give you $500 back off your first commission, off my share of your first commission, I should say. And then every couple of years, you're going to spend about $500 keeping your license, and I reimburse that out of your commissions. I don't pay for it, but I reimburse it. If you want to be an Association of Realtors member, the boards have different fees, and we'll have a whole discussion about that. I will be opening a brokerage firm for people who don't want to be members of the Association of Realtors, so we're trying to accommodate that. And yes, if you are a licensee, we can list. We can't list wholesale properties, but we can list properties with agreements, listing agreements that are quite similar to wholesale. Technical difference, don't worry about it. The point is, we're looking right now, because of the Pennsylvania wholesale law having so many loopholes, we're looking right now at doing listing agreements for all of our wholesales with the same payouts to us. We'll all discuss that separately, but the point is we're trying to get solutions that serve everyone, including the sellers and buyers. I appreciate your time, everybody. Thank you very much. I will be in touch with you all later. I've got to jump to this other meeting. Thank you.